Howdy, folks. I'm Lively Livimorium, lightly lifting livid limes,
I'm Amber.
and here are more livid limes for us to lift. They're probably mad because we're stealing them from the lime cart. You put a lime in your pocket, and you steal it.
No, this is Brian's bad
This is
advice.
bad advice. Do not steal limes. Let's get started. Alright, folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Accepting My Daughter's Request for me to walk her down the aisle and fill in for the mother-daughter dance at her wedding when my husband has been her stepdad since she was 10? I lost my first husband when our children, Kala, a 24-year-old female, and Hawthorne, a 26-year-old male, were 6 and 8 years old. I remarried 4 years later. I met my husband a year after losing my late husband. We were just friends for several months, dated some, stronger feelings developed, and I introduced him to the kids to see how they would get along. We halted for a year while my kids and I did some therapy because the reaction to my husband was strongly negative, because they didn't want him to replace their dad. But once therapy was ongoing, they were doing better. From there, things moved faster, but the kids were on board with how things were moving. They were clear, however, that my husband was not going to be filling in the role of dad in their lives. My husband said that he was fine with this as long as he was respected, and they could work towards being a caring family. Kala and I were always close, but she was a real daddy's girl. Losing her dad was extremely tough for her. She did form a nice relationship with my husband, but it comes nowhere close to the bond that she had with her dad. From age 12, she and I became much closer. I think that my parenting style, as well as my willingness to talk about her dad, even after I remarried, made me someone that she felt that she could be open with. She was 15 when she told me that if she ever got married, that she would want me to walk her down the aisle and for us to do a mother-daughter dance instead of a father-daughter one. I told her that we could dance to the song that her dad used to sing to her. She said that she loved the idea. Even though she seemed to mean it, I always assumed that things would change when she got older. I figured that she would choose to walk alone, with her brother as a representation of her dad and their close relationship, as well as for the societal expectation for a man to do it, or with her husband. But when she got engaged 3 weeks ago, she asked me right away. She brought up our past conversation and told me that she wanted exactly that. I told her that I would be honored. We cried tears of joy together. I told her that her dad would be so proud. My husband took the news in a way that I did not expect. His first question was whether I suggested that she ask us both to do it, and I told him no. Then he asked if she ever considered asking him, and I said that I could not answer that for her. He asked me if I thought of him when I said yes. He asked whether I gave it any thought to it at all as to what he's done for Kayla and both of the kids, and the fact that he's still not looked upon as a fatherly figure all these years later. I told him that I did not think of him when he asked because I was overjoyed. He told me that I should have given him a lot more consideration and I should have tried to compromise with my daughter. I thought that he would change his stance, but now it's 3 weeks later and he feels that I was wrong. He told me that he felt that he deserved more from all of us, but especially me. He said that I'm his wife and that I should be working on making sure that he is respected and honored for his contribution to the kids' lives. Am I the jerk? Alright, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. And in fact, OP sounds like she's rocking it in this department. Like, it is a really tough thing, I'm sure, to lose a partner and try and blend families. And it sounds like OP has found the balance of bringing in someone new with the help of a therapist and continuing to communicate with her children about the parent that they lost and not erasing him from their lives.
Yeah,
Now, the kids made it clear from the beginning they didn't want to see OP's husband as a father. He is not owed the father-daughter dance and walking her Kala down the aisle or anything like that just because he stepped into this. At
mm-hmm.
the end of the day, it's her choice, and it's a good thing that OP didn't start trying to push demands on the daughter because that would have formed a crease in their relationship, friction in
Yeah.
their relationship.
Well, I think what he's asking is going to cause a lot of resentment. And if he's this concerned about them, maybe he should approach Kala and
Mm-hmm.
ask her. But again, like, she seems like she's had her mind made up for a long time, and the kids made it very clear from the very beginning that they weren't going to ever view him as a father figure. And I think that's perfectly reasonable. And, he can still be a person in their lives,
Hmm.
but he's never going to be able to replace their father. And
Right. Respect and honor is not about people acquiescing to your demands. Like, he
mhm,
seems to have a skewed idea of what that is. That, like, because I want to be treated as a father, if you don't treat me as your dad, then you are not respecting and honoring me.
yeah,
When it sounds like the daughter is probably still inviting him to the wedding, it doesn't sound like she's, like, kicking him out and, like, shutting him out of everything. She just doesn't see him as a father.
yeah. So I think that's perfectly reasonable on her part. And I certainly feel bad for this guy that he feels that people aren't respecting him. But again, like what Amber said, I think that his view in this matter is that because he didn't get his way, he's not being respected.
Yeah, and that comes back to the idea that respect is like an authoritarian thing. Like, you don't get to dictate how your kids have their weddings.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And May Right Girl 5 says, not the jerk. Your husband should respect your daughter's wishes. Although I wonder, does he feel entitled because he's the stepfather, or is it some contributing financially with the wedding? If it's the latter, then maybe that's why he feels that way. Either way, it is your daughter's decision. And the jerk throwaway says, I don't think that he feels entitled. It's that he feels hurt. Hurt that he probably just realized that the child that he raised since 10 will never see him as a parent, even though he sees her as a daughter. And I mean, I think that there is some legitimacy in feeling hurt about that. But again, like, there was a lot of boundaries set out from the very beginning.
Right. Well, and he can feel his feelings. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is him trying to manipulate his wife into talk. Like, he's not even adult enough to have a sit down with the daughter and, like, ask her about her reasoning or anything.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to use his wife as a pawn to get her way because he probably knows the daughter's not going to, like, react well to him trying to insert himself in that way.
Yeah. And Lip Gloss Addict says, this is it. And OP, even after family therapy, can't think of her husband. Even in this thread, someone asked if she thought about him, and she's thought that they were asking about the daughter. I get that you can't expect kids, even in divorce, to think of someone as a parent. I can't help but think that some of the daughter's sentiment follows her mom, which is to say that the stepdad might have been doing fatherly stuff and spending his money on the family, but it doesn't really matter to OP or the kids. This is why some of us won't ever date people with kids. I can't imagine financially supporting people for over a decade and then get the finger from them. And OP replies, my husband did not play a role of a father within the household. I respected my kid's desire for him not to be that for them, and he agreed to that. Respecting their boundaries was a deal breaker for me, and he said that he was fine with not being a parent. And OP also mentions that he is not contributing financially to the wedding. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Breaking Up with My Boyfriend Because He Said That I Looked Hot? I have always been bullied for my dark skin since I was 4. I vividly remember an incident that happened when I was 8. I went to a shop with my mom to buy a dress for my birthday, and I instantly fell in love with this beautiful yellow gown. My mom went to use the restroom, and I went to take a look at the gown. The retail saleswoman walked towards me and said, This is a beautiful dress that you've got your eye on, but do you think that color goes with your skin tone? You are too dark to wear it. I felt dejected. I thought to myself that she was right, and that I was too dark to wear that dress. I internalized that I was too dark to look pretty from a very young age. In the meantime, my mom came back, and I just picked a random dress, and we walked out. This was just one such incident, and these were very common for me while growing up, either from my relatives, friends, or from strangers sometimes. My mom always tried to make me feel better, saying that I was pretty, but it was just too much for a young girl from everyone around. I always dreaded shopping and going to the stores. I hated buying new dresses and even stopped trying to look pretty. As I grew older, I started to realize how messed up all this was, and I tried to ignore everyone's comments. I started focusing on myself, physically and mentally, to improve my confidence. I worked out 4 times a week, but still never felt confident to wear the clothes that I liked. I resorted to baggy clothes and covered my body from head to toe. When I was 25, I was still working on my confidence. I had a huge crush on this guy. We'll call him John. We would talk almost every day, and one day I expressed my feelings. He dodged the topic that day, never brought it up, and also never asked me out. I understood that he did not feel the same way, and I stepped back, but we still talked almost every day, just as friends. I continued working on myself and started to step out of my comfort clothes. I started going to the stores all by myself. It was nerve-wracking the first time, but I did it. I started shopping more and started wearing the clothes that complemented my body, and I gained more confidence when my friends started supporting me. I just turned 26 and I was finally feeling that I have made great progress on working on myself. I feel completely confident in my own skin. I even started to get compliments from strangers at grocery stores or at the ticket counter, etc. A couple of months later, John texted me and confessed that he always liked me, and that he never asked me out because he was worried it might ruin our friendship. But he wanted to see where it goes and asked me out. We had a wonderful first date. We went on multiple dates, and he was very gentlemanly and treated me so well. 1 month into us seeing each other, he asked me if we could make our relationship official and be his girlfriend. Although I thought that we were going a little fast, I felt that it was right and I agreed. We continued having an amazing time together. One day we had a date night and John had a few more drinks than usual and got a little drunk. We were casually talking and I asked, "What made you wait so long to ask me out on a date, even though I had expressed my feelings for you a year ago?" He scoffed and said, "Oh, you started to look hotter. I would have never asked you out otherwise." I assumed that he was just joking and I let it slide. I casually brought it up the next day and asked again if he would have ever dated me if I didn't get hotter, and he instantly said, "No way." It made me feel worse because he knows that I was always bullied for my looks. I always wanted my partner to like me for my personality, and him saying that he decided to give me a chance only because of my looks broke my heart, especially because it felt like all those bullies were right. That little girl could never have had a boyfriend like John. I tried to move past it, but I couldn't. There were a few other incidents where he insinuated that he never wanted me to lose my looks. So am I the jerk for breaking up with him? Alright folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Absolutely not the jerk. OP, I'm so sorry that John is not a good person, because he's not. Well, some people are very like looks focused. The way he handled this is really, really gross and hurtful, especially where he knows your history and
Mm-hmm.
struggle with body image issues. And honestly, you deserve a partner who likes you for who you are inside as well as outside.
Yeah, attraction is a complex thing. But, well, he built this relationship off of deceit to begin
Mm-hmm.
with, right? He started off being like, "Oh, I always liked you," right? And now we should date. And that implies that he liked her personality, he liked aspects about her,
Mm-hmm.
and that he would have dated her, but was like too shy or something else, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that he actually only dated her because of her looks really says that looks are way more important to me than your personality or anything else.
Yeah. And so honestly, probably getting out of there here now, you dodged a bullet, because I mean, people's looks change as they age, no matter what you do. Like time gets to us all, and so he just does not seem like the type of person who's going to be a good long-term partner, you
Yeah.
know.
What happens when he trades you in for a younger model?
Exactly.
And I think that that's a real threat here, given his attitude. If something were to ever to happen, is he going to be there for you? And I just don't know that the answer to that question is yes. It seems like he's a very shallow individual.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really sorry, OP, that you are going through this. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Seven Fish Slap says, "You were right to dump him. You should go buy a yellow dress to celebrate the occasion." And Daddy Nun says, "Yellow looks great on darker tones. Just think of Josie Jump from the Balmori. She looks fantastic in yellow. Don't understand how that retail assistant could be so dumb." I think that some people are just bitter and want to spread bitterness.
Yeah. Well, this just reminds me of like my aunt gave me a style book when I was like a kid in high school or something, and you could do like a skin color, like a color tone thing, and I got cool tones based on my skin, and darker skin tones were paired with warm tones for whatever reason. I mean, these books are arbitrary, but I just find it so weird that they'd be like, "Oh, dark tones can't wear bright colors. It's just very strange.
Yeah, well, there are professional people who will sit down with you and work out what exact colors go well with your skin tones. And certainly, this person does not seem like that type of person.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel bad for poor OP there because way to crush a little girl,
Mm-hmm.
right? Who
Well,
does that?
exactly. Like, even if there is some kind of color theory, like 8-year-olds don't need it.
Yeah, exactly. And Fuse School 3869 says, forget him. Find someone that builds you up no matter how you look, what your age is, and whether your weight changes, etc. And Hotbat 6002 says, you are absolutely not the jerk for prioritizing your self-respect and ending a relationship where you felt undervalued. Everyone deserves a partner who appreciates them for who they are, both inside and out. Stay true to yourself and your worth. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here. And Amber, she has a joke.
All right, since we had a good one yesterday, we get a terrible one today. How does a monster count to 345?
One digit at a time.
On his fingers.
Oh, well, one digit at a time is digits are fingers. I mean, I
Yeah.
still think that I'm correct. Jovial Bobstein, you can't fool me. And I have Earl Grey. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Wednesday, Hump Day, Friday, Junior's Eve. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it in 6 words or less.
Wear the colors you want.
Wear the colors you want. Yes, I like it. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.